Okay, we live on YouTube. I just seen it hit.
Yeah, shoot.
We live on Instagram too. So we are live. We are live. So yep, this is the Power of Ownership podcast. We got a special edition. We're calling this the Corona-THON. Day one. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna entertain y'all, man. And you guys are gonna entertain us because you guys are gonna call in and we're gonna listen to your stories and listen to your conspiracy theories and listen to your concerns and questions and so on and so forth of what you think is gonna the future of our country and the future of our situation. And let's talk about the pandemic and let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about aliens, whatever you guys want to talk about. we'll sit there and talk about, man. So the Corona-thon day one. We got a lot of spare time now since the gym is gone. And what else? You can't go to restaurant, bars. What else? No movies.
Yeah, no movies. Yep.
I sat there and watched Netflix for like 2 hours. I couldn't do it no more, man. I don't see how y'all could do. I don't understand the term binge watching unless it's Star Trek involved.
Yeah, or a lady friend, right?
Right. So it's like, man, the Corona-thon day one, the Power of Ownership podcast. Let's do some promoting while we're waiting to get people in here, man. I know it's the opposite, but we got to fill the air some kind of way. Let's start off like this. You're gonna see me in and out because as I take calls, I'm gonna do some apps or I'm gonna take my calls in between the show. So this is not like a show where we're recording on Apple Podcasts. This is strictly for the YouTube. This is strictly for the live audience. So tune into YouTube at Billionaire Loan Officer. We're doing a Corona-thon. We're going to be live. You guys want to talk about anything? We're going to be here to talk about it since you guys are home. So if you want to get a big national audience, well, we're a little international audience now, right? So come on, let's talk. If you want to fill out apply for mortgage, hocmortgage.com. www.hocmortgage.com. If you need a book, man, this is the perfect time to read my book. See there? You're going to be at home anyway. Read the book. When you come out, you'll be ferocious. When we come out of this. So go to Amazon, click in Brandon B. Dixon. Go to Barnes and Noble, do the same thing. Or put in sales, the nucleus of any profession. I guarantee you make six figures. You get my book. You want to book me for consultation, sales training, so on and so forth. We'll have to do it via this anyway, because now we can't touch each other. We can't gather more than 10. So you want a sales train, I'm going to have to do it via internet anyway. So book me, www.billionaireloanofficer.com. Call us, 832-775-8357. We're going to be taking calls. We're going to be taking, if you want to come on the show, you want to remain anonymous, we can do all of that stuff, So call. We're going to be answering questions that we can answer, so we'll answer to our best ability. We're going to be answering. If you want to talk about mortgage, we'll talk about mortgage. If you want to talk about rocks, we got an expert scientist right here on the panel. You want to talk about rocks.
Hey.
You want to talk about conspiracy theories. You want to talk about the Greys. You want to talk about the reptilians. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to talk about. You want to talk about 5G. We're here, the Corona-thon. Steve, go ahead and introduce yourself. I didn't even introduce myself. Let me introduce myself. Most people already know me. Brandon B. Dixon. I'm a published author, serial entrepreneur, mortgage broker, so on and so forth. At Billionaire Loan Officer on all social media. Steven Contreras, go ahead in. Let's go in.
Hey guys, how you doing? Man, what crazy times we're living in. It's like, I think this expression is we're living through history, right? Like literally, no joke. This is history. Like this is the stuff they make movies about, and this is the stuff that they write.
Steve, we dropped you. Log back in. What happened to you?
Yeah, my
The cat?
cat freaking. I'm sorry. Yeah. So
Gotcha,
this is
gotcha.
so this is the stuff they make history about. We're living in it, and quite frankly, it's pretty intense out there. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes in the public. Like I don't
Right.
even know if words can actually describe what's really going on. It's intense, you know. But yeah, my name's Stephen Contreras. Happy to be here. We're gonna be talking about a lot of cool things. I'm a geologist here in Houston, Texas, studier of the arts and sciences, and yeah, trying to make the world a better place. You know, this coronavirus, all the stuff going on in the world, stock market crashing. It's at 19,100 points right now. I can't even believe it, you know, and yeah, we'll see where it goes, and I think we actually might have our first guest here on in a couple minutes. I'm going to send her the link, so
Gotcha,
uh,
gotcha.
I'm going to do
So,
that real quick.
so guys, this starting to come in the room and on LinkedIn. I mean, not LinkedIn, excuse me, Instagram. Go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and post the link here in the room. If you want to come on the show, just go ahead and click that link. I'm going to go ahead and paste the link right now. Boom. I paste the link in the room. If you want to come on the show, you want to vent, we just have a couple of rules. Try to limit the cursing. We do have a large adolescent audience, so we don't curse that much if you ever watch the show. And try to keep it to, we'll talk about whatever you want, but try to keep it as PG as possible. So that's all I really got to say about that. So try to keep it family friendly where the whole family could watch, man. That's what we're talking about today. So the Corona-THON, day one. This is what we want to get accomplished, man. We're going to spend some time with you guys. Why not educate yourself? Why not watch something that's going to be fruitful and, stimulating to the brain as opposed to vegetating, watching, Netflix all the time. So people that's coming from Instagram, go ahead and join us on YouTube. We got the Corona-THON, day one. We're gonna rock with you. So anything you want to talk about, you guys want to talk about the community, you guys want to talk about the current state of the United States, we're going to be talking about it. I put the link in the actual chat room. If you want to join us, you want to answer any questions, we're available. So the Corona-THON, day one. Let's go. Our first guest should be coming in soon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So, we're gonna talk about anything you want. You want to kick it off, or you want to wait for the first guest, Steve?
We can kick it off, kind of just get things going. So,
right.
Something I do for fun, everybody, is like I study the world for fun, right? So that's what I do on the side. I know where every country in the world is. I know the capitals of most cities. I travel the world. I see things, and I know my history. I can almost trace mankind in general. I'm not really good with specific names and dates, but in general, I can trace humanity all the way back to the beginning of time.
Right.
And so to see these things kind of unfold in live time it's intense because you never want these things to happen, right? And so when you see something like this happen, and when the world's not ready for it, it can be a very, very dangerous thing, for sure. So I don't know how you feel about everything, but man, it is weird. It's the craziest thing I might have seen in my life, actually. It's to see how the whole world just.
Were you here during Harvey?
I was in New Mexico.
Okay. So you just moved in to Houston in 2018?
No, I'm a native. I had to go work in Midland in New Mexico for a year and a half, so I was out there.
Gotcha. So you didn't live through Harvey there.
No, I was actually. You want to hear the story? I was actually at Chili's in Carlsbad, New Mexico, and it's all over the news. And I live near the Woodlands, Texas, and so I see the main road called Sawdust, and on the front lines of the news. I'm like, I get up in front of the restaurant. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's where I'm from. Like it's all underwater. It's crazy.
Gotcha. Well, see, this is my third go around, if you want to say so. Like, I went through Katrina, Harvey, and now the Corona. So that's kind of life changing, economic altering events. So I'll reveal as we get more followers and more people in the room. I'll reveal my take on it. But I don't want to spill the bean. Once I get the ranting, I go to ranting. So I give you, little bits and pieces on how I feel about it. Later on, she could have put a different name, like Jane Doe or something.
Hold on.
Anonymous some anonymous. So she could have been like Jane Doe or something. Jane, we call you Jane, and I'll be Tarzan. So to that effect.
So yeah, it's just like, the world. I mean, how well do you know the situation? Because if you ask for my opinion, I think it's been going on since 2011, 2012. All these events leading up to this point
actually, it's a little bit longer than that, because if you look at the patent, you could Google this stuff. You could Google U.S. patent coronavirus. It's been patented since 2006.
Yeah.
So and then you can just Google this stuff. You see all the doctors that patented it. Let me see if your friend is available. Hello.
Hey,
can you hear me?
Yeah, right. We can hear you. Yep.
Right. Well, cool. They can't see anonymous on the screen, so they just see a black screen. That's fine.
Yeah.
What do we call you? That's what I'm saying. Would you put Jane or Tina or something?
Good idea. Like Jane Doe or something.
Jane Doe or something to that effect. We'll just call you Jane.
Okay, let's go with that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So again, we're opening the phone lines. We're doing the Corona-THON, building up our brand and building up our audience. And so we're talking about whatever you want to talk about. So, we'll go ahead and yield the floor to you. And what do you think? And, what do you, any questions for us or any rants, whatever, the floor is yours.
Oh, I don't know if you want to give me the floor. We could go down a bunch of different rabbit holes. And Stephen, I don't know how much you want to kind of get into on this podcast, but there's a lot of stuff that you and I have kind of talking about. And there's stuff that I haven't even told you that I've been made aware of recently. That's some pretty serious stuff. So I don't know how far you want to go down the rabbit hole.
We can just play with it, right? I guess there's
certain stuff we can answer and we can't answer. So if you see us ignore something, that means we can't answer it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess let's start here. So what do you guys think is going on? Let me get that.
No, that's not. We're gonna have to name. We're gonna have to reflect back to you.
I guess I can do that. I think this is a test run for next year, honestly. Like, I think what's going on right now is the trial run for everything that is going to be happening. Because if you read Agenda 2021 by the UN, it's about 350 pages. It came out in 1992, and they have been following it to a T.
I don't doubt that. Okay, let me start here. Let's go back a little bit, because I think to understand what's going on, this has been being planned since the Reagan administration. All right, so whatever I say, you guys can choose to believe it or not. But I've got somebody who knows what they're talking about, who I've gotten information from that works in government, I guess you could say. And for the past 5 years, everything that they have said has come true. So I've learned to listen and watch and wait. So let's kind of take a step back for a second. So some of my beliefs on where this stems from is outside of our world, right? So I don't know if you guys are familiar with particle physics and space weather and how that affects our planets and other planets, but our whole solar system is being affected right now. So if you look at different trend and different data pieces, like there are planets in our solar system whose temperatures are off the charts right now. There are volcanoes on different planets that are going off. So we know that the whole entire solar system is being affected. Our sun is being affected. So for example, in the past month, our radiation levels have gone up 18%. You might not be able to verify that, but that is truth. So we know that there's something larger going on in the background. Our weather on Earth is not affected by cow farts and things like that. It's affected by larger space weather pieces. Can we agree upon that at least?
Oh, for sure. It's like they come from bats. We all know that. It's
Well,
the same idea.
the thing is, I don't want to cut your wisdom, but if you study that it's a natural order, whenever we start approaching our natural star, which is Sirius A, Sirius B, the planet's going to, and the solar system is going to heat up. That's just the natural order. We do right now we're entering the age of Aquarius. So of course, as we turn towards our natural sun, the radiation is going to increase. People call it global warming and all that stuff. No, that's not. I agree with you that it's not cow farts. It's not anything that we're doing. It's the natural order and the natural circadian rhythm of the planet.
Right. So like our solar system is constantly moving, and we're constantly moving into new space that we've never been in before. So from what I understand, we're moving into this very dirty area of space. There's lots of rocks, there's lots of cosmic particles. What cosmic particles do is they heat up the planets and our sun. So these charged particles enter in through our planet, through the North and the South Pole, and they charge up our core. So when our core gets heated, that affects the magnetosphere and it affects magma temperatures, right? So if you go back to looking at trend, what have we seen over the past 10, 20 years? We've seen an increase in volcanoes, volcanic activity. We've seen an increase in earthquake activity. And this is something that you can measure and go back and scientists agree upon, that there's a lot more activity. Magma temperatures have been up. Magma movement has been up. So these things are happening, and we know that the magnetosphere is being affected. There are certain areas that are weaker than other areas. Like there was an atmospheric anomaly over Australia, which was causing a lot of those fires and things that we had over the past, their last summer there. So we know that things are being affected on a broader scale, right? So if you're a government entity, and if you're thinking to yourself, or if you have all this data and scientists are telling you, hey, by X amount of time, this is going to happen, and you have to plan for your strategy as a country or as a globe for 7 billion people, you're going to start to make plans and to enact things, right? So they've been planning for this since the Reagan administration. In the Reagan administration, they understood what was coming down the line, what changes were going to happen. And when you have small changes with 7 billion people, that can affect a lot, right? Like if we get crop damages for 1 year, how's that going to affect the food supply? Are we going to be able to feed 7 billion people? I don't know. And I
Probably not.
Those are the questions that they started getting to, I think, when they first started understanding what was happening. And so when you look back in the past 10 years and you say, okay, what were they doing? They were doing military trainings like Jade Helm and, and all these different things. And they were stocking up. The government was buying massive amounts of dehydrated food and storing them. Why would you do that as a government if you didn't think something was coming down the line, right?
Yeah. And so you think that that pertains to what's going on right now currently?
I think this is a piece of the plan. So if there are things coming, like, and I'm hesitant to say certain things because what you put out there can cause a contagion. But if there are certain things coming, like different things in space that are going to affect us and cause dramatic, geological shifts on our planet, then I think you'd start planning for these things pretty early on, right? And you'd start enacting and stocking up. And I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Brandon.
Like I said, I think. See, my perception and your paradigm is two different things. And from my paradigm, which I deal with a lot of ancient science and stuff like that, that yes, I mean, of course, they've been planning for things, to happen, but it's all, again, like I yield to my first point that it's all part of the natural circadian rhythm of the planet.
So then why are they trying to, if it's all natural, why are they trying to control everything?
Well, as far as look at the word government, means mental, and govern means to control. That's is mind control. That's the whole thing about the government is I can control as many bodies as I can with my mind, with that one mind, the New World Order. So that's that's what their job is to do. That's what people yield. They yield their power in order to have a government control. They don't want the power that is naturally bestowed to them. They want somebody to actually control them. We talked about this on podcasts before, so most people don't want that responsibility. Again, you're gonna have to respond to your ability at that point, and they don't want to do that.
So
if there is going to be shortages, like,
well, this is the thing. I don't, my views, Stephen. I have to see. I don't think there's 7 billion people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that.
I mean,
that's that.
I mean, the whole paradigm of reality is tricky. Like, I think about that a lot because, like, if you actually pay attention to what's going on around the world, there's wars going on right now, and no one ever talks about it. Iran has invaded almost all of Iraq. Turkey has moved their southern border over the last 6 to 8 months, and the Saudi Arabians and Russians are at war right now for oil. And the Russians and Syria they're the distance those two countries is the size of Texas from point A to point B. It is from El Paso to Louisiana is that distance, and that's a pretty small area, and everyone's just acting like it's not going on. So to your point, like, is there 7 billion people? Are there wars going on that we don't know about? And we just have to take it for what it is, I guess.
Well, this is the thing. And to address your question about what shortages of food, the planet naturally recycles itself. It bears fruit. We spit out the seeds. It goes back into the earth, and it's constantly. If we go a vegan, plant-based diet, there's enough food for for everybody on the planet. The problem is that we got the greed and the hoarding involved, where I got to pay for such and such. There's enough. Even if there were 7 billion people, that's enough for everybody to have 1,000 square feet, and that could fit in Texas.
So let me kind of go down this route. So,
Does that make sense?
Are you guys familiar with how radiation impacts photosynthesis?
It slows it down, right?
Right. So it disrupts that process. So we know that we've had an increased amount of radiation coming from the sun lately. So the sun has been absorbing these cosmic particles, right? And when that happens, it releases more energy towards Earth, which is more cosmic rays. So there's been more radiation hitting us from above, but also below because the core has been ignited with increased particle activity. So we have increased radiation around the globe from above and below. So this affects the photosynthesis process. Plants don't produce food as well in radiation. At the same time, you have a lot of other impacts. Whenever we have these insane storms that impacts crops, like the hail damage that we had in Colorado impacted the corn crop. You've got these waves of locusts and bugs that are wiping out certain crops. We've had crop damage on an international scale. If you can just Google this, and it's everywhere. They've had some restraints on the global food supply, the international trade over the past few months already. They've had to make some changes. But so we have that on the side, right? But at the same time, when you have these increase in geological activity, we are preparing to have some major events around this globe. So, and I don't know how much I want to get into this, but the person that I get information from, he does modeling for the government on where some of these impacts are going to be. And what's interesting is they've been concerned about certain areas. Some of those areas, not all, but some of them are Italy, California. There's a lot of magma movement happening under California, and New York, surprisingly. Those three areas, those have quarantines right now. Is that not interesting?
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
So
There was
let, let
an
me ask
earthquake today in Salt
Yep.
Lake City.
so
Yep.
Jane, let me ask you this because I'm trying to tie the two together. So your position is that the government is putting the coronavirus on top of a plan that's already, it's a deeper plan that's already in motion. Is this your position?
I guess you could say that my belief is that the coronavirus is to gain control because there are other things coming and happening, and they need control when these things happen. So let's just say pressure is released in one of these areas. Millions of people are going to be affected. It will cause ripple effects in the economy, around the globe. You're talking about mass chaos. They need control. So before some of these things happen, you have to get military out. You have to, have people contained. You have to stop the sale of guns and ammo, which, by the way, that's already starting in some areas if you haven't noticed. You cannot get bullets in Houston from what I'm hearing from friends.
Yeah, you can.
These things have to be implemented before these large disasters happen. There is modeling that is showing a large particle wave coming in March. I don't know what day, but it's going to offset a lot of pressure.
I think.
I don't know. I can't tell you, but it's going to offset a lot of pressure somewhere. And that's why I think they have these lockdowns in place in areas where they know the pressure could release.
Well, the thing is that when they release the pressure, what is it going to be? What type of seismic activity is it going to be? Earthquakes
and volcano, all of it. It's like the Earth doesn't pick and choose which one. It's wherever the pressure built up. So it depends on the plate formations, right?
Well, my point is the point I was trying to make is that by how is having us inside the house going to either preserve us, or what is this? I'm trying to tie it all together. What is this supposed to do? What is the aim?
So if you were a government
in the house, how is that either saving us or hurting us?
If you were a government and you knew that, let's just throw a what if scenario out there. You're a government and you know that there's a very high probability that modeling is showing you that there's going to be a mass casualty event in Italy. Let's just throw that out there. Mm-hmm. Would you rather have millions of people flying in and out and tourists about to increase that casualty opportunity, or would you rather have minimize that by shutting down plane activity, shutting down tourism, shutting down transportation, so that you have minimal impact to the area?
Okay, so again, your position is that the coronavirus is just the pawn to protect the public from the actual knowing what's actually going on. Is what your stance is.
I don't doubt that it's an actual virus that's out there. I don't doubt that.
Well,
I do think it's.
If you look at if you Google coronavirus patent, you see that we patented back in November 2006.
Yep.
The United States has the patent.
Yeah, just like anything though, it's triple fold. If they do something this big, they're going to do it for several reasons, right? So and if you think about, okay, so if the space dust, I'm going to call it space dust. If the space dust has come in really high, it's going to affect it. They're going to try to blame something too. Like the 5G that they're trying to push out is not good on the upper atmosphere at all, which causes low protection already, which can cause huge detrimental effects on the whole thing. And that could be a big reason why too, honestly.
Well, here's another piece of the puzzle. So with the changes that happen to the magnetosphere, it actually affects static electricity. And when static electricity increases, this affects some of the electronics on planes. So years ago, I was told that planes were starting to be affected and that eventually they would have to completely shut down air traffic because the planes could not fly in the atmospheric environment that we were moving into. Because as the magnetosphere changes, the atmosphere changes, right? And so if you've noticed, if you look at trend over the past 1 to 2 years, you'll see an increase in plane crashes. Pretty much every single day on the news, I was watching, it started with single engine planes, and then it started going to private jets, and then we started having commercial airliners being affected. I was sitting on a brand new plane. It was a Frontier plane. This thing was like, we were like their first or second flight, and they had to replace an electronic component because it was malfunctioning before we took off on a brand new plane.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is part of these changes that we're seeing. Coronavirus was implemented, in my opinion, just to get control and to shut down air traffic.
Okay, so you're basically, your thing is it's basically a Trojan horse for something that's more that has more to it, to almost do like we used to call it in football a counter play, where you get the linebackers flowing one way and then the actual play is going the other way.
Yep. I don't doubt, though, that this is to decrease population. From what I've been told, and I can't, verify this at all. You're just going to have to, believe it or not. Coronavirus is not the virus that you want to be concerned about. It's what's coming next.
For sure.
There are, in terms of viruses, that is, supposedly the CDC and WHO are tracking 2 other superbugs that just got out. Whether they were purposely put out or accidentally, that's up for debate. My opinion is that they were purposely put out. One of the viruses supposedly just jumped out of a hospital environment in Colorado. It's got a 72% kill rate.
Oh,
The
wow.
other virus, yeah, that's what you want to be afraid of. The other virus supposedly is in Australia, and it's got a 33% kill rate. Can I verify that? No, I can't.
But I saw on the news today about Australia. They're taking like a weirdly extreme position on the whole thing. So that kind of makes sense. Like they've already talked about like mandatory like citywide lockdowns, like no one can go anywhere. Like and that was released today, I think.
No, it's really interesting. So the day after that this virus in Colorado supposedly got out of a hospital, the day after we had complete lockdown in the state. Like they shut down like bars, restaurants, DMV, like anything where people would go. And it almost seems like Colorado is doing this ahead of other states, oddly. Like there are other states that are in worse scenario that we are, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, Colorado and Texas are always the fail safes for the United States. Like it's the Lone Star State for a reason because we can support ourselves, and then Colorado is the safe haven. Like that's where people will flock to if the world ever ends. Is Texas and Colorado and Wyoming. A lot of rich people will go to Wyoming because it gets really cold, it gets really hot. There's not too many people, lots of resources.
So Jane, before I go in, let me. So what do you think is next for the American public or the world about this pandemic? What's next?
Robots.
In my opinion, it's war. We've always known that this war was coming. It's been planned. This person that I know that works in government, a long time ago, he said they estimated that 50% of the population would survive the Third World War, and then 10% of people would survive whatever's left after that.
Oh, wait, not to cut you off, but hey, everybody that's in Instagram, we're on YouTube Live. So this is my podcast, The Power of Ownership. You're just seeing me. So we have a guest speaker, Jane, as well. So if you want to see everybody, go to YouTube at Billionaire Loan Officer. Go to my YouTube, and we're live on YouTube right now. So if you want to see us, go ahead to YouTube. So everybody asks, who are these people speaking? Yeah.
Yes, I'm Steven, guys.
Steve, I got Steven Contreras and I got Jane here. So go to YouTube if you want to see us at Billionaire Loan Officer on the YouTube channel, and you can see everything. So I'm gathering some of my followers during this Corona-THON from my Facebook and my Instagram to come on over to YouTube and subscribe and like and see what you've been missing out on every week. We got some powerful shows that come out every week. So we're gonna have guests, and if you want to come on the show, I put the link in the chat room. Come on the show, vent. Let's talk about this Corona thing, what you think about it, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jane. Go ahead, Jane. Go ahead.
I don't remember what we were talking about.
The war. You said about 50%, but my
And the show's
calculation
every
was,
Sunday at 11 o'clock. Every Sunday at 11 o'clock.
yeah. My calculations would by my math was 2/3 of the population would be, you know,
If you really want to go down the rabbit hole, and this is just fun stuff to look at, I encourage everybody to go YouTube Al Balik. So Al Balik was this guy who supposedly, and this is going way down the rabbit hole, okay? So he supposedly was part of the 1944 Philadelphia Project. In that project, and he's got hours of autobiography to where this guy explains complex equations and details about his time in doing these secret projects, to where I don't think he's lying, but he supposedly time traveled in the 1944 Philadelphia Project, and he explains that he showed up in the year 2137, and he said that there was these massive changes that had happened. He said that between 2020 and 2025, these massive earth changes happened, right? And he goes into great detail about each city. And some of the stuff that he says agrees with the data that I know from this person that does modeling for the government. So there is some truth to what he's saying, I know for a fact. Like he says that there was disease and economic collapse and war, and all these things happened in a very short amount of time. So I think that's really interesting, and just a good, like, fun, like, you're laying in bed and you want to YouTube something, go look up what he says about the year 2137. It's very eerie because he's spot on some things. Like, he knew about 9/11 before it happened. He knew that Bush was going to be elected and it was going to be a tie and get recounted. He knew about some really crazy things in interviews that he did in 2000 before these things happened. So I would encourage anybody to look him up as well.
Yeah.
Gotcha. For our audience, repeat that for the audience as well.
Al Balik. He was part of the night.
Al Bleak.
I think it's so Al and then BIE. I think LEK. No, Balik. Hold on. Let me
right, and he's was he a scientist?
He was part of some secret projects for the government, including the 1944 Philadelphia Project.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think so. If you look at so right now, if there's going to be war, I think the lines in this are already drawn in the sand. I still firmly believe, like, say if some miracle we get through this year without a war, I think the war starts in March next year, February, March. But say if we get out this year and Trump gets reelected, or whoever wins, right? It doesn't even matter. That North Korea would always be the proxy to stage a false flag attack to get everything going. The CIA, John McCain, a lot of high officials started meeting with North Korea before Trump kind of blew those plans out of the water in 2015, 2014. And so if the economic system collapses, war is always the best way to do it, to fix it. But it's going to be awful. Like, I was reading somewhere that there's like 3 or 4 versions of, they already have it all drawn out. There's 3 or 4 versions of how they're going to, if World War III or whatever you want to call it happens, there's like 4 or 5 ways it can go. And it's eerie because if you think about it, say if all the population, if everyone, I hate to use the word dies, but if everyone passes away, if all the souls are gone, this is a good test right now. How fast can they automate everything? Because they won't be able to maintain the technology and the production and everything, the order of things. They're going to have to automate, especially it's because they're going to need the people to do all the hard things. Like, they're going to have to do the farming, the science, the technology. So how fast can they do regular jobs with automation too? It's going to be a fascinating thing to see.
I think the world's going to be a little bit different than that. And what's interesting is timing is so important here, and I feel like with some of the stuff that's coming in from space, they're timing it with that. There is a date in May that I know of that supposedly there's some stuff coming in from space. I can't really say any more than that. I don't really know much more than that, honestly. But my opinion is that they're going to time it maybe something with that second week of May. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm worried about tomorrow. I think that's going to be a big one.
Well, I hate to be the shining ray of optimism here, but I'm going to go ahead and drop a little bit.
Be optimistic. I know this isn't the stuff that people want to hear. It's just kind of the reality.
You know what I'm big into etymology, Jane. So when you say belief, are you familiar with etymology at all? Etymology is the study of the nucleus of words, the origin of words. And the word, and you always can go to etymologyonline.com and Google certain words, and the words that you think they mean, they actually mean something else. And the old dictionaries back in the days, the unabridged dictionaries, used to have what's called the etymon attached to them. So you know how to put the word into the matrix and actually decode the actual word. Now they call this legalese now. So they call this and they know only a very small fraction of the population can actually read. So there's the connotative and denotative meanings of words. So most of the time we use word and they're out of context. So we think they mean something, they mean something totally different. Am I making sense?
Yep.
So when you say belief, if you look at the etymology of the word belief, it means to spread the lie. Just like vote means to wish. When you say, so I'm voting, that means I'm wishing that something will happen. When you say, actually, the etymology of bless means to sprinkle with blood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's an interesting time. And I love it because it goes to show you how words evolve and mutate and adapt and change over the course of time. Just like, and booty actually means money.
Really?
Yeah. So
booty.
Go for the booty.
Yeah. Money.
That's hilarious.
So so the stuff that we think we know the meaning of, it actually it means something totally different. So people that's non-profane actually know this, and they kind of snicker at the population like they don't even know what they're talking about. So belief means to spread the lie that you think something, you have a hunch, but you're not 100% sure, but you're saying it anyway. And so it's almost like a virus. It goes to everybody else's mind, and it's not 100% the truth. Mm-hmm. So I say I know certain things. One of the things that I know that we're in a illusionary matrix. That what you see is really not real. And this can be proven a couple of different ways. They did it with are you familiar with the particle with the double slit test?
No, I'm not.
Where you could Google this as well. Where they sent the particle or atom, less than actually an electron, which is less than an atom, sent it through this slit, and it behaved as a solid as such. When the recording device wasn't on it, or when nobody was paying attention, it behaved as a wave, as energy. So, and they tried it all kind of different ways. They experimented all kind of different ways. They put the recording device at the beginning, at the end, different ways. As soon as our consciousness is focused on this particular particle, it becomes solid. And that's just what it is. So everything is consciousness. Everything is a thought. Thought is everything. So even in the atom, they show there's 99.9% empty space. There's nothing there. Only thing that makes this a solid is the frequency that it vibrates on, and that the consciousness is that we all agree upon. This is this. This is the table. This is wood. This is the consciousness makes this real. The consciousness, so this reality that we we created, which was Solomon's temple, is our learning ground, is where we come to experience ourselves and experience stuff from different angles all simultaneously. Am I making sense so far?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get it.
So, is there 7 billion people? If you wanted to be.
Yeah.
So the mind makes it real. The mind makes anything. Let me ask you this, Jane, where is the mind?
Sorry, you cut out. What was that?
I said, let me ask you this, where is the mind?
Where is the mind? I guess everywhere. I don't know.
I appreciate that a lot of people think in your head. How is that possible? Can I cut your head open and see thoughts?
Nope.
So that dream, when you dream, where's the light coming from in your dream?
That's true. That's true.
So this could be proven all kinds of different ways. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. My point is this: I'm setting up my premise here. So with these viruses and even the body, let me go down before I get it. Even the body, we thought up our avatar, because we are not the body. This is our car. This is our vehicle. This is our meat suit. So our body is even a thought.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we need in order to experience ourselves in this particular third density plane. We need this suit. Or we thought we all agreed on that we need this suit. So none of this is real. There is no spoon. All of this is energy. So with that being said, is that you can control what people have done and what we have created, almost like a video game, where we have to have the antagonist, the protagonist, which is of course yourself, and then you have the antagonist. So we create these antagonists in order to make the game more interesting. So you got hate. People conjure haters in their mind. Some people is the government. Some people is aliens. Some people you always have this antagonist. Some people it's yourself, which the enlightened people know it's yourself. Am I making sense?
Yep.
So with this government thing is that in your mind, you could make this real. And all I have to do we know that it's a virus? No, just somebody on the news told you this. And we reacted as such. All I have to do the thing about the occult is that I know the outcome before you even do it. All I have to do is tell you something. And the mind makes it real. Matter follows mind.
Yeah, you actually bring up a really important point, because there are people who are employed by the government to psychologically make the American public think certain things. That is an actual job.
For sure.
So I
know that through the Schultz, I forgot the last name of the guy, but this act, the propaganda has been legal in the United States since 1945.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Smith-Schuster Act. You can Google this.
And they changed the radio frequency from 432 to 438. I think 440. Sorry, they changed from 432 to 440 hertz in 1948, 1952.
Right. Also, they amended it in 2013 to include social media.
Oh, for sure. It's a big mind control.
Is legal in the United States. Just like in North Korea, they believe that the supreme leader never defecate. This is a fact. You can Google this stuff. So why do we think the United States is above planning certain things to control the mind? That's what they're for, the mind control. Government, when I put a governor on on a truck, it controls the speed. Anything that you see mental, that's why I'm a big study of etymology. Anything you see with ment on the end of the stroke for mental. Government, control the mind. Payment. You think in your mind, you pay something. Agreement, commitment. It's all in the mind.
Well, and that goes back to my thoughts on why they're quarantining Italy, California, and New York.
Right.
I don't necessarily, I'm not saying that the virus isn't real. I'm not saying that people aren't dying from the virus. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, I think they might be maybe fudging the numbers or emphasizing this in certain areas because they know that these are potential areas that could be impacted by a pressure release from when this wave's particle hits it.
I'm gonna get that to that as well. That's what I'm gonna get to. So they knew, they already have the patent on this since 2006. So the symptoms, if you're under 50, is scratchy, basically flu-like symptoms, but it's supposedly highly contagious. So, you know, you could actually Google this type of stuff and see that it's a man-made virus. It's a flu on steroids. But again, I do believe, yes, it's a Trojan horse in order to do something else. But it's all in the mind on what you this is the thing that they're not telling you. You control all of this stuff. It's whatever you want it to be. So if you want it to be this global pandemic that's going to, you know, lead to the World War III, to lead to the demise, which it won't, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Then you can make it so, you know, because this thing, first of all, this thing from your perspective, first of all, there's a multiverse as well. From your angle, yeah, you could go down that road, but the actual place that we call Earth, the plane net, you know, that we live on, is not going anywhere.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hard reset, right? Like it's just a hard, you know, if we do live, if we do live in like a paradigm, right? If we live in the paradigm, which is reality, like, and if there are. And exactly, but if there is like a hard set, you know, the people who control it can just click the button, you know, metaphorically, of course, to just try to start over.
Right. Well, now this is the thing. You came in at this particular time. You chose your parents. You incarnated for a certain reason. Why did you come here?
Are you asking?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying this is a rhetorical question. But why did you come here? What did you come here to do? And why did you come at this particular age and particular quote unquote what we call time frame? Because time doesn't go linear, contrary to popular belief. Because time is a spiral, more of an illusion than anything. That's why the guy says he's able to time travel, because it's not really a fixed point. It's how we perceive it. It's how man can logically explain what's going on day to day, or what he perceives as day to day. And the truth is, each night is head ruined set. It's a battle. So who's to say we don't die every night? Who's to say that this is not the dream, and where we're going is the real life? When we dream is the reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's more real than what we see here.
Agreed.
You see what I'm saying? So that's more of our natural state, where I could be in whatever, and it is. This has rules.
Jump 35 years ahead, see what's happening.
Right. So my thing is this: if you want it to be a global pandemic, the end of the world, which it won't be, because the world is going to survive, then so shall it be. If you want it to be a temporary hiccup, and we go back to business as usual, quote unquote, then it shall be. You are the creator. You are the mini creator of your own reality. This is facts. You could, biblical, you could go to whatever. It says in Psalms 82, verse 6, ye are all God's children, the Most High God. So you are a mini creator. So you create your own reality. And, you people that form these religions and stuff like that knew that. So if I could get you thinking this, then I can control the output of what you're thinking. So that, I think, is more of a mind thing. I think, hey, what is there a true virus? Possibly. Is it more hype than anything? I think there's extreme possibility.
Well, and you could tie this into markets too. So, Steve and I have been talking about this for years. The market has been primed to crash. They created these derivative bombs that they knew would explode.
Right.
And so they've just been setting this up for this to happen. And so did they create the coronavirus as a mass hysteria to go ahead and prick the bubble that is the markets, to start this global contagion into, the reset that we're looking at? That's a good question.
Right. So
Yeah, I think so. Honestly, like I think they're crashing it. It's at 19,000 points, and that's crazy. It's like we talk
it's
about
the
like
balance, though. Isn't that my art? It's the
yeah,
balance. Anything that, in order to feel the highs, you got to really feel the lows. So it's the balance. You got to have both.
agreed.
You can't have one without the other.
But like the way it doesn't feel organic is what I'm trying to say. Is like that Mother Earth has its natural balances, right? It
Right.
has its ups and downs, and us, if you want to call humans or mankind or the Holocene period that we are in, as a virus itself, we have actually messed it up, and so.
Well, as a matter of perception, because I look at it like this: if we are the part of the creator, we are many creators ourselves, so we are part of the body of the creator. We are like cells. So
For sure.
you have the choice, which is you have the choice to go along with the flow of the body, which then you aid your regular cell, or you could be a cancer to the body. You go against the body. So a lot of things that we do with these the chemicals and all this stuff here this is cancer cells. Like Jane, you mentioned earlier about the photosynthesis of the food that's changing. That's all part of the natural order of the planet. We get information from the sun. We are sun people. Per sun, percentage of the sun. We are sun people. We get that information goes from the sun into this particular plant and causes photosynthesis and stuff like that. Now, as the radiation goes up, that means more information. So certain people are going to be now, I remember who I used to be. Now you can't control me. So now what you call the government, let me block that. Let me GMO some of that stuff so you don't get the information.
Yeah, I think Elon Musk calls it. Yeah, Elon Musk calls it the giant thermonuclear reactor in the sky.
Right. Well, also I know you don't like to talk about the chemtrails, but they chemtrail everything, so you don't get the.
Oh yeah.
So you don't get the actual. You could go directly. There's Suntarians, right? That people that don't eat food, all they do is bask in the sun all day, and you can survive off of that.
Have you ever met one?
No, I haven't met one, but there's you could Google this stuff. There's
I believe they're out there for sure.
But we got to be closer to the equator. You got to be between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn in order to do this. Where we at the northern hemisphere, it won't work.
Yeah, Costa Rica.
Let's go back to what you said about the chemtrails, because I think this is something fun is interesting. A lot of people think that they're just poisoning us. Well, there's always a purpose to something that the government is doing, right? They're not paying money to do something that has no purpose. So chemtrails, if you notice, when they spread out, they block the rays of the sun, right?
Correct.
So
or absorb or mutate.
I guess. I believe that they bounce off. The sun bounces its rays off of the chemtrail, so we get less radiation at the surface of the planet. So since the radiation from the sun is increasing, which damages our cells, that actually can cause cancer in people. Which is interesting because cancer rates are also increasing. You see these trends that I'm talking about. It starts to make sense if there's more radiation from the sun and it causes cancer, and cancer rates are increasing, especially skin cancer rates. That's why they would be doing chemtrails.
This is the thing that you're missing, and you might be oblivious to, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it on your noggin. Is that the original prototype for man had what's called melanin in their skin. And it's just been over the last 6,000 years, supposedly, that the evolution, I don't believe in evolution like the Darwin theory, but I believe through intermixing that, people with less melanin was created. And it was created because our ancestors created this particular person to survive in the ice age, because they knew the ice age was coming. So you can have less melanin and still survive in this particular ice age. So they created a man. Let us make man, and created him in our image and give him the power and dominion over the earth. this is what they're talking about. So I'm saying that to say this is that now that the planet's turning back to its original orbit and it's heating up, that particular person can't be here. It's gonna heat up, and that particular person, if you don't have a certain amount of melanin in your skin, this planet's gonna be uninhabitable. So what are the government's doing? Hold on, my live is ending. Hold on a second.
Yeah, and we have a question too
Hold
coming in
on
as well.
let me finish this thought. So that particular person, what is the government doing? Now they have to mix back. That's why you see so many interracial relationships. That's why they pumping it, boom, 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 mix back, mix back with the original prototype. But if you look at the movie with Jordan Peele, Get Out.
Yeah.
If I could take my mind state and put it in your body, then I still could control everything as I have been. So this is the new formula. So as long as we have this particular Roman Eurocentric mind frame, doesn't matter the body, I still can control the body. But they know, this is why Trump's been trying to go to Mars and all this stuff here. They know that the planet will be inhabitable in 50 years, like you're saying. But this is natural. But they can't let you know that.
I think you're right that there supposedly are areas of the planet that will eventually be uninhabitable with what's coming in from space. That they know that. Australia is actually one of those areas. But I do think there are habitable zones because the government has identified safe zones in certain areas in each country. And that's a whole nother conversation that involves CERN and alternative atmospheres and things like that. But
so not to change the subject, but we got a question in saying like why from California, why would they want to crash the markets?
Well, that's a great question. My personal opinion, this has been baked in for a long time. It's been part of the plan because they need control, right? So we need to reset and move to a new system. And the new system is going to have more control. I have been told that in this new system that they've been planning for a long time, that supposedly we're going to be getting bracelets, supposedly. These bracelets were manufactured in Germany. They were finished in 2018. And the infrastructure for them is slowly being rolled out.
Yeah, you can tell by how they're rolling it out is by the way we use our debit cards. They start
Yep.
slowly with the programming. It's like,
Yep.
okay, you
The
have
chip.
the chip,
Yep.
you don't have sweat. So eventually, just like a watch, they're just going to chip and you can just
That's
scan
exactly right, actually. That's exactly what I was told, Stephen, that the chip was on purpose to make you wait and get used to waiting when you check out.
it. Yep.
Right.
And so
I'm going live on Facebook. So not to cut y'all off. Hold on a second. Let me I'm gonna alternate.
yeah, and I'll give you my opinion on why I think why they'll crash the market.
Well, again, like I said before, it has to be, it's the natural flow of things. It's the natural flow of things.
But the timing is, in my opinion, the timing is weird, right? I think they pushed it early. I think that because of certain events that have happened over the last few years, I think that they're down to desperation at this point. That they have this plan in place, and I think they would. And it's not going according to plan. They're trying to extend it a little longer, but I think now they're trying to crash it just to gain like Jane said, is for the control, to scare people, like you were telling me earlier, I've been meditating on this thought that like they will do anything to try to switch powers. Like they'll take everyone's money away and blame it on someone else just to keep power, the whole thing, like
Right.
you say, governmental power. You have to realize these people have been in power for a very, very, very long time, and they don't care about the stock market, like they're here right now to win it, and so they'll do everything they can just to maintain all that control. And if it is a consciousness shift, and I really do believe that is a consciousness shift on where we're going, is they don't want to shift. And so that's what, in my opinion, is we call a transitional time period. We're in transition of the old way to the new way, and the old way doesn't want to change, and so they will start a war. They'll crash the economy just to maintain those generational shifts. And you have to realize these generational shifts don't happen very often, right? Usually about every 120, 200 years, there's a generational shift. And it lines up with the stars and that transition to Aquarius. It matters with the planet heating up, all of it. It's all a shift, and they will do everything they can in their power to try to maintain control. And I really do think that's why they'll crash it, because they don't care if everyone loses their money. They don't.
Well,
Within the major. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I have a little bit different of a thought process behind it, because think macro for a second. Think big scale. So if these changes are happening to the earth, there's not enough food for everybody. There's going to be mass chaos. Our economic structure is going to be completely changed to where we can't operate like we did before. There's going to be mass panic. Through all those changes, you have to have control, right? Because they know that not everybody is going to be able to be maintained or survive in the new environment that we're moving to. Geological changes. There are some big items that the government knows is going to happen that could completely wipe out the East Coast. I'll just say it. There's some serious things. So you have to have control through these items, right?
Yeah.
Well, within the matrix, let's talk within the matrix. Let's expound. Let's say that all of this is real. I gotta, because if Stephen knows that I talk what's called dual mentalism all the time. I talk within the confines of the comic book, so to say, and then I talk outside of the comic book in the different realms. More reality, should I say? So within the matrix, let's say the government has to take control. They want to make sure they maintain some type of order amongst this chaos. What do they need to do? They got to understand occult sciences. They got to understand the outcome. So what they do is they've been, I agree with you, they've been doing this, they've been testing certain things, with these, false flag events for years, just to see how we're going to react to certain things. So, I believe that, amongst this particular matrix, that this is another event. I don't think this is the real deal yet. I think this is the another false flag event in order to see where this takes us.
Yeah, test.
It's another test. It's another test to see how we react under quarantine. And then each one is going to be, it's a gradual. See, that's the thing about, they don't play small ball. They play long haul, hundreds of years down the line.
Because people forget.
Right. You can't, boom, 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 boom. It's Katrina. It's Harvey. It's, hurricanes in on the East Coast. It's these natural disasters, one a year. Just to get you to get you disparity, just to get you uneasy. Because remember, one of my favorite movies is The Matrix, and what they said in The Matrix is that the first Matrix was a utopia, and they lost massive amount of crops because people had the tendency of waking up, and they said that this couldn't be real without some type of tragedy. This is the balance. So I have to have some type of tragedy in order for us to accept a particular program.
Yeah, the programs are changing though. That's why all this is happening.
It's gradual changes though. I don't think this is the end all be all that we have to. I think next year you're going back. People are going to be sharing milkshakes again. So I don't think this is.
Yeah.
But I think as kids, the kids that were under quarantine are going to remember this, and they're going to be used to, because they accepted the program the first time and went back to normal. So when they do it again, all right, boom, there's quarantine again.
Yeah, I mean, it's Agenda 2021 for a reason, right?
I don't know about that. I think, again, if you want that to happen, it will. But I don't think so. In my paradigm, I think we got a little bit more quote unquote time before it actually goes all the way down. But it's not going anywhere. But alternate as we know it, should I say?
I feel like we have a very short time left. Honestly, I know I was so pessimistic, but I honestly, I really do. And like I was going back to Al Balik, which he has a very interesting story, and I really encourage everybody to look up what he says about the years between 2020 and 2025. But he says it happens really fast, like between economic collapse, disease, and war. He said that the U.S. was hit by ICBMs. And they hit the major cities, which goes back to my thoughts on Agenda 2021, because if I remember right, Agenda 2021 was to basically centralize everybody into one place, right? So if you knew that there wasn't going to be enough food and et cetera for the population to sustain everybody, what would you do as a government? You would want to depopulate, right? So how do you depopulate? One, you introduce massive superbugs, and two, you bomb everybody that you centralized in these local cities.
And it's always cheaper. Like, I hate to say it, but it's just truth. It's cheaper.
I think we lost Steven.
Yeah, we lost Steven. I don't know. He'll be back. I think his cat. Yeah, here he goes. I think what happens is that they already know. I think you're missing a dynamic. I think you're missing a dynamic between there's a war. If you want to, again, I'm talking within the confines of the Matrix. There's a war between the original inhabitants here and the new inhabitants here. And there's been a war for centuries. They Christian versus Muslim, and they paint it to different things, but there's always been a war between the indigenous people and the newer people. So, but this is on a base level. If we climb up in the ranks, and we see, if we look behind the curtain, we see that all of them in cahoots. It's really rich versus poor.
Yeah, always. It's always about the money, right?
Right. But they put the skin color paradigm against the common people, the 99% of the rest of the people. That's the paradigm we live in.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's been a silent war going on. Well, more than silent war, there's been a war going on. And one of the wars that they have, that the elements that you got to take in consideration, they've been trying for so long to erase indigenous history.
I do agree with that.
For sure.
And
yeah.
what they've been trying to say is like, hey, this is us. That's why Darwin was in error. Darwin theory, the natural selection, is that, hey, Caucasian is the natural evolution of man. That's the theory, and everything else is primitive, which is not true. Everything that they got spiritually, religion-wise, and science and mathematics got from indigenous people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
If the world ever ended, right? If we lost all technology, right? If we lose everything, like we have no communication with anyone,
right.
and you're an advanced civilization, where would you go to survive? You would go to the jungles where the indigenous people are, and you would trade them, teaching you how to live for the math.
Well, this is the misconception. Again, that's part of the Darwin theory. Remember, time doesn't go linear. Time goes in ages. So the ages that the age of Aries, the age of the Scorpion age, we didn't need technology because we were able to communicate mentally, telepathy. We didn't need certain things. We were able to teleport And how do you think they got the pyramids here? Now you can't even get enough technology to put that type of weight on a block. We didn't need to because we could just move it with our mind.
Yeah,
You know,
but the only one.
it was closer to what we originally are.
I agree. Yeah.
What happened as that particular man was created, he didn't have that particular those gifts. And that was where the animosity came in the first place. So they created the technology in order to compensate the lack of natural ability, genetic ability.
And I totally agree with everything you said.
Right.
So how do we get back there? I mean,
Well, it's naturally going to go back.
I mean,
this is the whole point of this is my whole premise from the get-go. It's naturally starting to turn back to the original. And the powers that be, which are in cahoots, don't forget, this is my son. What are we? My son.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, I do get it. I really do. It's just, but if there were certain types of people on this planet who believe that you could get back there, for instance, what would they try to do? The only way to get back to being able to use the movie Lucy, right, or Limitless, right? You have to use all your brain power, right?
Well, it's going back there. It's the natural circadian rhythm of the planet. As we get close to our sun, which is Series A and Series B, not Soul. Soul is not our natural sun. Soul revolves around Series A and Series B.
Oh, for sure. And if anyone doesn't know where Sirius B is, it's in the constellation of Orion. It's a small little star right next to the belt. If no one knows where that is,
right?
But if just the whole idea is it's a consciousness shift. The only way to be able to access.
Correct. That's what I'm.
It's
that's
like
what I've been saying the whole.
I know, but if you were these groups of people who say control everything, right? This is just a theory, right?
The 1%.
If they control everything and they know there's a consciousness shift, of course they would want to depopulate to get rid of the people who aren't shifting into that next phase, right?
Not necessarily, because I think part of the preservation of it is to overhype the amount of scarcity. There's no scarcity on the planet, but if I tell you that, then you're going to conserve. If I tell you there's abundance, then you're gonna be gluttony. You know. So, but I tell you that there's remember, this is all mind control.
Hey guys, I hate to do this, but I got to jump off. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah,
back.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to be doing this for the next few days. So if you want to come back in and chime in, let us know.
Yeah, of course.
Got you guys. Yeah, you great content. I love your content. We're gonna have to definitely have you back on.
Thank you guys. You'll have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Have fun.
Awesome. But yeah, it's the shift of consciousness, man. That's all it is. Like I said, they understand what this really is. We're trying to live inside of the matrix and trying to figure stuff out inside. You got to go out to go in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, really? To go in to go out. It's weird. You got to go inside yourself, inside the mind, to really understand what this is. So you're worried about a virus. You are creating this particular henchman. You're creating this adversary. You created it. You know. So in our collective consciousness, we're creating this bad guy, which is the government. Which you wanna have him anyway. Most people want to have this government anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just to distinguish. I think it's just like once you get to a certain level in consciousness, you know this. I'm just for the audience and everything is like, you don't believe in the superstition anymore. You know, it's not about that. It's just about how it is. You know.
Right. Well, this is the pinpoint to finish up the point that I was saying, because I gotta hop off at 3 to go do this meeting real fast, okay. And we'll be back on let's say 4:30, 5 o'clock or whenever. What's your schedule look like?
Sure, yeah, maybe closer to 6. Closer
to 6. We'll be back on later today, but we're doing a Corona-THON. For people that's on Facebook, I switched from Instagram to Facebook. People that's on Facebook to subscribe. We're gonna, since everybody's at the house, sit down and instead of watching Netflix, let's have a multi community conversation about what's going on, about the coronavirus. What are your thoughts? What are your concerns? Let's rant. What, you got any information you want to bring to the table? Again, like the last caller, you could be anonymous, whatever you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste the link in the bio. I mean, not the bio. I'm gonna paste the link in the. If you want to come on, there's the link, and we're taking all callers. If you, it doesn't necessarily have to be about the corona. If you want to talk about economics, you want to talk about how to make some money during the coronavirus. What do you need to do? What type of businesses you need to open while, or you want to prepare for the recession? We're gonna talk about all this stuff. This first segment, I guess, when we talked about a little bit more conspiracy theories, but it is what it is. I want to talk about economics. That's what I really want to talk about. I want to talk about how to survive, what to expect. If you just want to rant, we'll listen to that too. So I would say let's feed the higher self instead of sitting there and watching Netflix and feeding the lower self during this time where you're at the house.
Yeah.
So let's talk some higher thoughts.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's nowhere else you're gonna get info like this. This is we're just being real. That's all we're trying to do.
Right. So we're inviting you to come on in, talk to us, ask questions. If you're confused about what's going on, you want our opinions, I'm gonna give it to you. I gave you pretty much a nice chunk of what's going on right there. So if you're on Facebook, go to YouTube and watch it from the beginning. At Billionaire Loan Officer on YouTube. At Billionaire Loan Officer on YouTube. Watch it. So we're gonna come on again. I gotta go to a meeting real fast, and then we're gonna be back on. We're gonna be back on again later on. So we're gonna be back on. Yeah, come on in, man. I want to say to make this quick point before I get off is that don't forget all is mental, all is thought. All of this must take place. It's according to the age. It's all in your natal chart, your cosmic charts. Why did you come in at this particular time and space? I wouldn't take this too serious because don't forget who you are. Don't forget the only real sin is not knowing who you really are and not knowing your real power and the power of thought. So that's what this particular quote unquote government does. If I could get you going one way and I get enough of you, I could make this thing real. So what we want to do is I want to get enough people to be neutral. And that's why I say neutralize this thing, before it even starts. If we get enough mind power going the opposite way, then it can't come into fruition. Am I making sense?
Yeah, it's true though.
Yeah. So let's neutralize the thing. I personally don't want to do the doom and gloom. A lot of people like it here in the United States. A lot of people, these other guys, these nationals that want to overthrow the government, you guys need to get out of here. But you want to overthrow the government, but you hop in your BMW.
Yeah, I know.
You go to the bar. So knock it off, man. You like it here. Your women like it here. So let's make the best of while we are here in this physical plane. I ask this question all the time, especially Facebook. Now that I got Facebook, most of the Facebook is most of my nobles that's watching me. So you nobles, what would you have done better? If you don't like it here in the United States, you don't like it here in America, what would you have done to make this better? What would you do if you had all the power to make this better? That's the question. You guys talk to me. If this is not the perfect scenario for everybody, what would you have done to make this better? Would you give everybody all the money that they want? Would you not? How would you do it for you? So, and you'll see that this is not the perfect system, but it's a system that is livable if you apply the principles that this was founded upon. The system was founded upon if you work hard enough, you could be anything that you want to be. You create what you want to create. That's what they facilitated. So how would you have done that better is the question.
Yeah.
On the managerial standpoint, what can I create to have my people do what they want, anything they want, and how can it not have any flaws? Nothing is going to be totally perfect. Nothing's going to be that euphoria. But let's hear it. What you do better to make this system? If you're the government, what you do to make this any better than what it is already? I'll wait. Don't forget, we can go get Whataburger. On normal circumstances, I can go get Whataburger 2 a.m. in the morning. You know what I mean?
All you have to do is swipe for a date, right?
Right. So I mean, how much better do you want it? You're safe. You don't have to go outside and worry about getting bombed. What more do you want?
Or eaten by a bear, right?
Or eaten by a bear. You're not gonna go outside and get eaten by a lion. Most of the diseases and all that stuff is in the mind. So you got pretty much clean food. It's not perfect, but all right, you do get some food poison. You poop it out and go to the next thing. Your body automatically rejects it. So we're caught up in this paradigm in the past that 400 years ago, well, man, we were slaves, we got beaten up, and you're still carrying this stuff. What does that have to do with right now? So that means, like, as I go outside right now, I'm gonna get hit by a hose. So we have to adopt and stop the victim mind state again. So Justice, my noble Justice Will I Am Bay says, get the corrupt people out. It's not the system, it's the people running it. Let me ask you this, Noble, and Islam, by the way. How do you know that we ever lost power? How do you know that the nobles ever lost power? How do you know that we not still running the thing?
I mean, I don't know if I can say or not, but I mean.
Well, we can't say. I'm just asking the question.
Oh, that's a complicated one.
So if our ancestors created this system for a reason. So is it corrupt, or is it the test that we wanted to experience? Right? Because you chose to incarnate at this time and place. So obviously you wanted to experience this particular paradigm. So don't forget, everything is what it is. ISIS. You wanted to come here. Why? Islam, Boule, what does that mean? I'm not sure what that means. I understand what Islam is. I understand what Boule is. What's the coordinate? What's the conjunction between the two? You got come on the show. You know what I'm saying? Come on the show. So
yeah, just going back to your last thought, it's just we live in a world where we can have anything we can want, My sister, she told me one time, it's like, no, you can't get anything in this world for free. And it's true, because the amount of work you put into this world is what you get out. So no matter how hard people work, that's what we get. You get in what you get out, and that's just how the reality is for everything. It's the law of cause and effect. You have to put in. If you want to play the game, sign up. You're not going to be able to play the game if you
already signed up by being here. You incarnated to be here. So you're already signed up. Now you want to find out why you chose to come in the game.
Yeah, some people forgot, right?
You forgot. Well, that's the covenant. That's the covenant. You forgot. You wipe your memory clean. All right, now you got to learn. Now you got to experience. So why did you come here? So the thing is that this is the problem. This is the problem. Justice Will I Am Bay. We are programmed, and some kind of way you allowed your program to think that this is against you, which is false. It works for you. Whatever you want to make manifest, you can. I told you I understand what the boule is, but what's the coordination between Islam and the boule? What are you trying to say? So Again, because I put the link in and come on the show, man. Because I'm not good at talking in code. Like, come in the show, come in the chat room. Because this is the ADAP chamber. So you got to come with something. What are you trying to say? I'm not good at reading in between lines. Are you trying to say that I'm boule? I'm not. Are you trying to say that we're talking boule talk? What are you trying to say? I'm not sure what you're trying to say. But anyway, like I said, come on the show. We'll talk. My thing is that you manifest whatever you want to manifest. You are the creator. You create your own paradigm. You create your own reality. The antagonist, the set is nothing but you.
Like a set on a play, right?
Right. You are set. You are Heru. You're your own antagonist. You're a God. You're the devil. So they said, no, the issue is our people that look like us that keep the system working against us. No, you keep the system working against yourself. The system works perfectly however you want it. Don't forget that you are God. You're a child of the Most High God. So I got you. Come on next time, but don't forget. So I don't subscribe to the victim mentality. This if you subscribe, you think that the propaganda is real, you will in turn have this victim mentality, and you'll never get to what the real deal is.
You'll get stuck in the loops.
You get stuck in the loop. I said this on the podcast the other day. Don't forget that at the end of every level, there's another boss. It gets tougher and tougher.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing, man. So it's you, but the thing is that it's a pattern. You're creating these bosses for your experience. But and I agree with you. You got to love the peaks and the valleys of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way you can experience. You got to experience life.
It makes us human, right?
Exactly, the hue. But again, come on in, man. Come on in the thing. We're gonna shut it down for like an hour or so. I gotta go to a meeting real fast, but we're gonna do this Corona-THON all day, man. I want to hear from my nobles. Come on in, man. I want to hear some science. I want to hear some different point of views, man. Where my nobles at, man? Y'all been too quiet. Islam to the nobles. I'm gonna talk to my Instagram people. I want to get all of them in. This is the chance now. We sitting there. I want to hear you can watch Netflix anytime, man. Netflix, those people are already millionaires. Let's talk. Let's have a multi-community discussion.
Yep.
You think?
Because we're all in it together.
Right. All right. So let's talk. Let's see what he said. MorrisAmerican.com. I will check it out. I will definitely check it out. But at the same time, the first chapter in my book is reciprocity. So if you want me to patronize your business, my dear noble, beloved, come on my show. Let's talk. Express your views. Arthur Alexander Ale, what's going on, brother? We having the Corona-THON, man. We talking about anything you want to talk about. Come on the show. I put the link in a little bit earlier. The link, if you want to come on the show, let's drop some science. Talk about the corona, what you think it is. Let's talk about this economy. Let's talk about whatever. Let's talk about indigenous rights. Whatever you want to talk about. Let's drop some science right now. Let's drop some science. Now's the time to vent. Forget this Netflix. They're already millionaires, man. Let's have a communal discussion so people could watch and learn. Let's have a higher consciousness discussion and our higher selves. So let's rock. So I wonder how many people. I'm gonna make people come in, man. People are scared. They just want to lurk. Now let's get it in, man. Get it in. Talk
Yeah,
to us.
because it's the only way to solve problems.
Right. Let's talk about it, man. I know cooped up. You talk to all your family members. Let's have somebody else.
You can post it all on Facebook, right? But
Right. You can talk
we're
to all
trying
your
to.
family members about it. Let's talk. Have an outside presence. Give an analysis on the situation, or ask somebody else. It's always good to have different perspectives on situations. It might help you. I got to go meet this guy for real quick for a meeting. Let's pick this back up. What do you say? 5 or 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock would be better for me, just so I can get all my thoughts together.
Gotcha. All right. I mean, write down some questions. What I'm gonna do in the meantime. I'm gonna call a couple of my business partners and try to get a couple of people on. Don't be shy, man. What I'm gonna do? Also, pump it on your social media. I'm gonna try to get a couple of more people in via social media. That's and again, you can come on anonymous. We can hear your voice. You don't have to give your real name if you're scared. But bring it. All my nobles. Don't forget to bring that science. Don't come with that weak scholarship.
It's like,
man, don't come with that weak scholarship if you're gonna come in. Don't forget. But it's not a debate. We just want to have a discussion. But don't come with no. I'm gonna let you go ahead and express yourself. But if I dissect it, peace, family. Islam. The Tita Lib War Bay. Peace. Man, come on in, man. Like I said, we having this Corona-THON, man. We talking about whatever you want to talk about. If you want to rant, you want to vent, we talking about anything dealing with. Let's see who's texting me. Yeah, man, everybody. Peace. We're going to have to reconvene since everybody kind of scared to come in. We're going to reconvene the Corona-THON 6 p.m. Central Time today. So be on the lookout. I'm going to be live on Facebook. I'm going to be live on YouTube. And I'll be live on Instagram. So whatever y'all want to talk about, go ahead, write down your questions. Go ahead, get your thoughts together. You want to rant. You want to have a discussion, whatever you want to do. We opening the lines up. So let's go, family.
yeah.
With that, I'm going to say that God is a verb and personal responsibility is your only savior. Join us in about 2 hours. We're going to finish up. With that, I'm going to say peace.
Peace.
Right. I'm going live on Facebook. Not to cut y'all off. Hold on a second. Let me